ate a hot and a large meal. An individual ate a hot and a large meal. An individual ate a hot and a large meal of cassava with salty groundnut soup. So the individual was sweating profusely. The individual was sweating profusely and did not drink water after the meal. And did not drink water after the meal. A. State one rule each made by the following organs: involved in the activity above. I is mouth, I, the skin, I, the tongue, IV, kidney, V, stomach, VI, small intestine, VII, large intestine, VIII, the liver. Then the B part of it, then the three of the organs listed in A. That contains enzymes needed to break down the food. And again, you see part of its name. Three digestive, enzymes that start from there. We can make an attempt. Takes one roll each plate by the following organs after eating a hot meal that involves salty groundnut oil. Hot meal that involves salty groundnut oil. So what happens? We have done all these topics in our SS2, isn't it? Isn't it? An individual ate a hot and a large meal of cassava. That is fufu. It could be fufu. Let's use it like that with a very salty groundnut oil, groundnut soup. How many of us have eaten groundnut soup before? It's just like a BC soup. It's like a BC soup, very sweet, well prepared. Now, when you look at it, all the classes of food are found inside there. So you're asked to find what happened. That's the role each one plays. What happened in the mouth? What happened? Remember, the food is hot. And after eating, was asked not to drink water. He did not drink water. So what happened? So what happened in the mouth? The role the mouth played. Can somebody say something now? Start answering now. You will not look new. It's a revision. Let's just say something. We did digestive system. We did the mechanism of digestion. We did mechanism of digestion of food in mammals. Let me say, we used human, and we know that the organs involved. They just brought in this. I know this one came because of the hot soup. This one came because of the salty salt. It's a salty groundnut soup that was there. Then the other one's the roll. This one also came still as a result of that salty food. So what are the rolls? Let's start from there, from the mouth. What happens when the food enters the mouth? Remember I said cassava. So let's assume that cassava food is fufu or eba. Fufu or eba. So it might not, or lafu. We know lafu now. You don't know lafu? I know Yoruba. You don't eat it. You don't eat lafu. Amala pupa.
Okay, white amala.
It's not a lafu that people call it.
No,
We call it lafu.
white amala.
No, that's English you're speaking.
Amala. It's lafu.
Amala what?
Amala white.
Amala fufu. You don't call it lafu.
No, we call it lafu.
I know it's more lafu than even the amala white. The other one is amala dudu.
Yes.
Or even call it amala self. Lafu, amala. Or it can equally be semo. No, semo is from corn. Semo is actually from maize. So they said cassava meal. So either it's not it's either gari, that is eba, that we know as eba. Huh? Gari?
Yes.
Not eba.
Gari is soaked with hot water.
No. There's nothing like gari soaked with hot water. Cassava. I know Igbos, when you have made it with even without hot water, we call it gari. Here I know that they call it eba. They call it what again? Eba lepo. I'm not whether eba lepo. That is frying the gari, adding palm oil. We even fry gari without palm oil. Because that one is common with the Igbos. Yes, I'm talking about when you have prepared it to swallow. We call it gari, not eba. So when we said made from cassava, you understand what I'm saying. So what happened in the mouth? Taiwo, Remove that thing. You are the one that did not write your school. I want to what? She didn't write her school name. So what happened when the food, they said the roll and the mouth. This is like exam, as me is your set. And that question is like a repetition. I remember last set I had lesson I just brought it up. What happened in the mouth, not knowing that it will come out in the exam. I mean the set that I wrote, that is last set. Not knowing that it will come out. And we treated it row by row. And I gave them a question, assuming it is, they said tea. We made the tea, and the tea contains milk with bread and a fried egg. That was a past question as well. What happened from the mouth to the stomach? Then another one was from the mouth to the small intestine, stopped. Now, this one, they just mentioned from the mouth to, this one is rolls. And there are ones that they have asked about the rolls. And they mention only the teeth, the tongue, then the esophagus. But because the question said hot meal with a salty granite soup, and you don't drink water. What is the role of the mouth? What is the role of the skin? What happened to the skin? What is the role of the tongue? The tongue is in the mouth. What happened to the kidney? Then the role when the food gets to the stomach, the small intestine, the large intestine, and what happened in the liver. So let's start from the mouth. I'm expecting you to say something. Let's assume it's a question you have met. I learned why timetable is out. You see the original timetable? No. Huh? No. Have you been given in school? No. Then it's not original. I'm asking of Abel. Because I know they'll bring, I saw one on my online. When I see Mr. Dekombi, I will know because they're bringing out a lot of. But the exam is starting towards the end of April. End of April to the first week of May. That's when we're starting. So let's start answering this. Let's start quickly. What is the role? What happened in the mouth? Let's not waste time, please. As when you came across the question, somebody say something now. You. Oh yeah, make an attempt. Okay.
The mouth and the food
Did they grow?
in the mouth, the food get chilled. Yes. First step is when the food gets to the mouth, then it gets chilled. So I know. Chilled. Okay.
Breaks it down.
So the food gets grinded by the teeth in the mouth to smaller.
So what happened?
From the mouth to the nose, that goes to the other digestive system.
Okay, sit down. You have only half mark there. Wow. Over the score there. I will tell you over what now. That's me. It's only 1 mark there. It's not a trial. You just mentioned the mouth. Even when you say the mouth, the food gets to the mouth and get chilled. What chilled it? What kind of language? You are playing. You have entered into YouTube. Can somebody else say something else? Because there are a lot of things in the mouth. There are a lot of things. You have mentioned that the teeth, yes, help. What else? Someone should say something. The role of digestion in the mouth. You want to say something? This is serious. Nobody wants to say. Oh yeah.
The food is ingested into the body through the mouth. Then it is mechanically grinded. It is mechanically grinded by the teeth. Then the cassava, the large meal of cassava, the tannin produced by the salivary gland acts on the carbohydrate, which is the large meal of the cassava.
Just use the word, which is the cassava.
Okay, cassava. Then it is moved by the tongue through the esophagus.
Okay. That's a good attempt. Does any other person have something to say? Okay.
When the food is ingested into the mouth, it is masticated by the teeth. So after mastication, the salivary gland secretes tannin to convert the cassava to maltase, into maltose, and the tongue helps to roll the cassava into bolus, which is then thrown into the esophagus.
Okay, that's a good attempt. Does another person have something to say? Now, when we talk about the role of the mouth in digestion, now the mouth, inside the mouth, it contains the salivary gland. Now, this salivary gland secretes saliva, which is an alkaline substance and also a lubricant. Now, this saliva will mix the food, which is inside the mouth, that is the whole food now. Now, when it is mixed inside, since we have cassava, at the same time we have groundnut soup. The groundnut soup, or the groundnut there with the oil that you use in making it, is an fat and oil substance. And definitely there might be meat there, and another thing used in producing, which is protein. But this time around, the cassava, there is no enzymes there that can act on those ones. So the salivary gland produces two important things: the saliva and an enzyme known as thiolin. Now, this food, most time cassava products, you don't chew, you swallow. Do you chew?
Yes.
Rice.
You are mala.
Rice.
You know, working on what you were given. I said cassava. You chew your own, okay? Who else chew? You chew your own, or amala. And after you chew your own. You don't want to swallow. Do you swallow or you chew? You swallow, okay? You chew, you swallow, you chew, okay? So we still bring in, since you chew, that brings in the action of the teeth. So the teeth will mechanically break it down into tiny particles for easy swallowing. So that broken down will make it easy to mix with the saliva. And since it's cassava, then the thiolin will act on it, converting it to maltose. You don't forget that word. You have mentioned the key word, the saliva, which is an alkaline substance and also a lubricant, will mix with the broken, which has already been broken by the teeth, and that is the cassava meal, into tiny droplets for easy swallowing. So the saliva will now mix it, making it to be soft. There and then, the thiolin, which is an enzyme acting on a cooked carbohydrate, will act on that cassava, converting it to maltose. That is maltose. That is the action, the role in the mouth. Now remember, it is a hot food. What happens to the skin? We have finished talking about the role of the mouth. You are following it like this. We still come to see what happens. What happened to the skin? What is the role of the skin? vasodilation. That is because it's hot. Apart from that, we're talking about in terms of weather and temperature now. Now, when the food, have you ever eaten hot food? What happens to you? Thank you. There will be sweat. The skin secretes sweat. That is one of the major things. And that will help to control the body temperature. Am I saying something now?
Yes, ma'am.
That is the role, because the food that is coming in is hot. Now, when we are bringing in vasodilation and vasoconstriction, we are talking about temperature now. Are you getting me? But in terms of the food that is eating, it is hot. The skin will secrete sweat. That is what the key word they're expecting. Because most times, if we are eating hot food, and the thing, if the soup is sweet, by the time you know it, you're using fan. The thing is entering. You're chewing it. Sweat is already, for the guys, they'll start removing their shirt like this. If there is fan, they'll draw the fan to your side, especially for good meal. You understand what I'm saying? The first thing experienced is the sweat. The skin will secrete sweat, and that will help to control the body temperature. Am I saying something now? Yes. Then apart from that also, there is that secretion that's being done will release also excess sweat and salt. It will help. Remember that the granite is salty. The granite soup is salty. Someone like me will not eat again, sir, if it is salty. There are some people, they don't care whether it is salty or not. But as far as this question is concerned, you have eaten it, you answer it. So that salt, the skin will help to secrete, so long as it's removing sweat. Sweat contains, one of the things contains salt. It also contains ammonia compound. Am I saying something now? So it will help to remove them there. That is the role of the skin. Then coming to the tongue. What happens to the tongue? What happened to the tongue? Good. Now the food in the mouth, the tongue is located in the mouth. The saliva is being secreted. And what will help it to, the mixing of the tongue, of the food with saliva. The mixing of the food with saliva. Auntie, come and sit down. The mixing of the food with the saliva is being done by the tongue. So the tongue will roll the food into bolus. That is in the mouth. And not just rolling it into bolus. Now the tongue will also push the bolus from the mouth down to the esophagus, which now enters into the stomach. Now what happens to kidney? Do we understand it? Huh? Yes. All right. What happens in the kidney? What is the role of the kidney in this thing? Let somebody say something. What's the role of the kidney? What's the role of the kidney? What is the role of the kidney? I want you to look at the angle of salty. That's it. Huh? So it will remove, most time it might remove excess. Remember the person didn't drink water? It's just salt. It will remove the excess salt. And that will help, or try to maintain the salt and balance, which is also known as what? Osmoregulation. Because the student might write osmoregulation. It will involve or bring about osmoregulation, whereby to maintain the salt and water balance within the body system. Is that clear? That is why the kidney is there. We said it secretes excess salt or excess water and carry out osmoregulation. Now, what of the stomach? What of the stomach? What's the role of the stomach? What's the role of the stomach? It will secrete what? And the stomach? amylase. In the stomach. Are you sure in the stomach? Remember the food that is going there now. The food is moving. What's the first thing that happens? What's the first thing that happens? Storage for how many hours?
3 to 4.
24 hours. And then what happens? The food that is coming in, there no proteinous thing there. Are you sure? Huh? Are you sure Renin should be there? Now, when the food that is being pushed from the esophagus into the stomach, the food remains in the stomach between 3 to 4 hours. But before then, the wall of the stomach will contain a gland known as what? Gastric gland. And this gastric gland produces gastric juice and 3 important enzymes. Let me say 2 important enzymes and also a hydrochloric acid. Now this gastric juice is also an alkaline substance. Am I saying something now? Remember what is coming up from, it will also combine with that thiolene that acted on the food. Now in the stomach, there is no enzyme that acts on the cassava. Did I say something now? But the cassava will still stay there, at least between 3 to 4 hours, and now turn to chine, which is a milky substance. Now also within that place, oil is coming, which is contained in the granules. There is no enzyme in the stomach that will act on it. Am I saying something now? But still, the granite oil, the oil contained in the granite, will still be stored and still turn to chine. Am I communicating? Then the hydrochloric acid will still have enzymes. Protein contained in the that contains in the soup that also have to do with that granite. Am I saying something now? Now, it will not produce the enzymes involved. Now it is an adult, not baby. 2 major enzymes and the hydrochloric acid is not what is needed, and that is the pepsin. And already we know that proteinous food acts best in an acidic medium. Do we remember that? Proteinous food or enzymes, act best in an acidic medium. So the acid there will help and also destroy, that is dilute HCl, any germ that might be found within the stomach. Then the pepsin will act on the proteinous food there, converting it to polypeptide or peptone. The other enzyme would have been renin, but because it's an adult, it doesn't need renin. Did I say something now? So that this is the major thing, and the food will not stay in the stomach for 3 to 4 hours. After 3 to 4 hours, the food now leaves the stomach into the small intestine. Did I say something now? That is the rule. So when we are talking about the key points then, 1, the food enters into the stomach or stored temporarily in the stomach. 2, in the stomach there is gastric gland that produces gastric juice. And this gastric juice produces proteinous enzyme and the dilute hydrochloric acid. These are the points. And after which The proteinase enzyme acts on the protein, converting it to polypeptide, and the proteinase enzyme is known as pepsin, found there. There is no enzyme that will act on the food that is already coming, on the cassava that have been acted upon by the thiolin, converting it to maltose. There's none there. And there's no enzyme in the stomach that will act on the granule itself that would have produced oil. Am I saying something now? So no. But it will still turn to chyme inside the stomach and then move to the small intestine. Now that one leads us to what happened in the small intestine. Remember, the small intestine consists of 3 main parts. One is duodenum, the other one is jejunum, and the other one is ileum. Now when it gets to the duodenum, that is where you have some important, that's why you have an organs that are associated with digestion. They are found attached to it, especially at the duodenum. And what are these organs? The pancreas and the liver. The liver is just like an outgrowth found around the small intestine, that is the duodenum. Now, also in the duodenum, we have some enzymes. We have the pancreas. The pancreas produces pancreatic juice, which is also an alkaline substance. And this pancreatic juice as well produces some enzymes, or contains some enzymes. One is maltose. Now, depending on the number of, we have the maltase, sorry. So the maltase, or let me say the amylase now. The amylase will also act on the carbohydrate food that is coming, but it's not fully converted there. So they produce also an enzyme, proteinase enzyme, known as trypsin. Now that trypsin will act on the protein contained in the soup, converting it to trypsin. Am I saying something now? Yeah. The trypsin will convert it to polypeptide and peptone. Then we'll now have a sign of the lipase that will act on the fat and oil, but not fully completed to lipids. Now, the pancreatic juice, like I said, is an alkaline substance that will still neutralize the acidity, the hydrochloric acid that is coming down. It will break it down and neutralize it. There and then, that is the one part of the small intestine. Then jejunum is just like a link between the duodenum and the ileum. And the ileum is the largest and the longest part of the small intestine. Now in the ileum, we have the intestinal juice. That intestinal gland will produce intestinal juice, which is also an alkaline substance. This time around, you know that carbohydrates will have 3 classes, or 3 types: monosaccharide, disaccharide, polysaccharide. That's where you start having reducing sugar and complex sugar. And this cassava that is coming up is not like just the normal glucose, others were coming with it. So there and then, other enzymes will be produced. We have maltase, we have sucrase, we have lactase. Now these 3 that will act on simple sugar, reducing sugar, and complex sugar. The maltase will act on the maltose, converting it to glucose. The lactase will act on galactose. The lactase will act on lactose, converting it to galactose and then glucose. Then we'll have the sucrase, will act on sucrose, converting it to, act on sucrase, and the polypeptides that are also coming from the stomach, converting it to amino acid. Then you now have the lipase, converting the fat and oil into fatty acid and glycerol, and which is the end product of fat and oil. You now notice that in the small intestine, digestion of fat and oil starts in the small intestine and ends in the small intestine. Digestion of protein starts in the stomach and ends in the small intestine. The digestion of carbohydrates starts from the mouth and ends in the small intestine, which means digestion of food ends in the small intestine. And what starts there is absorption will not start from there. So that is the rule. Now, because they said the small intestine, you combine what happened in the duodenum and as well as the ileum together. Did I say something now? Do you understand it? Now, when you come to the large intestine, now large intestine is also a part where the undigested food materials is being stored. Undigested food materials is being stored in the large intestine. When it becomes too much, there will be a reabsorption of water from the surrounding into the large intestine, and they keep on moving and store into the rectum. When the rectum is filled up, there will be a contraction by the wall of the large intestine. Then from there, from the rectum, the excreta or the undigested food material now goes out through the, to the exterior via the anus. Did I say something now? But the major thing here, in vitro, this is where the undigested food material is being stored and being removed when filled and goes out via the rectum also through the small intestine. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you very sure?
Yes,
Now, all these things, what is the role of the liver? Why do you say? What's the role of the liver? Huh? Production of bile. What does it do? What's the role here? Okay. That is, what do you call it?
Emulsification.
Emulsification. There's another thing it does.
Detoxification.
Hmm?
That was it.
Remember the end product of protein?
Yes, it's converted to urea.
And what? Only urea. What do you call it? There is a word for it. Deamination. So it will, one of the major parts is to break down excess amino acid, converting it to urea. And that process is what we call deamination. And not only that, the production of bile. And what does the bile do? Bile is an excretory product of liver. If the bile is allowed to stay in the liver, it will create problem in the liver. But the bile plays an important role during digestion, especially when it comes to fatty food substances. It has to break down. Already we know that fat, most times they can congeal. And when they congeal, it will not be easy to reabsorb. So what the bile will do, when the liver break down amino acid, even before then, how does it do it? Apart from deamination. Do you remember during transport system, when you have dead hemoglobin, dead blood, red blood cell, what happened to it? The worn out red blood cells, they are being taken to the liver will convert it, break it down into two things. What are the two things? What are the two things? One is biliferritin and the other one is bilirubin. Now the biliferritin is also still play an important role. Remember, one other major function of the bile of the liver is to produce blood. Red blood cells, yes.
For photos.
For what?
Photos.
That's for fetus, even for adults that assist. How? The worn-out red blood cell, when it is being broken down or destroyed by the liver, it converts it to two things. One is ferritin, we call it bilirubin. The other is bilirubin. The bilirubin still returns to help in the production of red blood cell because it contains vitamin E. So they return back to the blood. Now the bilirubin is being carried out of the liver and stored in a sac-like structure known as the gallbladder, which is found above, on top of the liver. So they are stored there as a waste product, and that waste product, that bilirubin that is stored in the gallbladder, is what we call bile. And they help in breaking down fatty food substances into tiny droplets for easy absorption. And not only that, they create a better room for enzyme action. Enzyme that will act on the fat and oil. So they create a surface, is the surface tension for it, for the enzyme action to occur, especially on the fat and oil food. Did I say something now? Do you understand it? Do you understand that part? Part of the important rule. That's the production of the bile, which is used for the process of the bile acting on the fatty food is what we call emulsification. I hope you know that. I hope you know that. All right. I think that is for that one. So let's look at, say that, name the three organs. The three of the organs listed in this one that contain enzymes needed to break down the food. What are the organs here?
Mouth.
Okay, mouth. Stomach. And the small intestine. That's the three organs that contain enzymes that need to act on the meal. The mouth, the stomach, and the small intestine. Then the three digestive enzymes that will be involved in the digestion of the food. Digestion of the food. The three digestive enzymes. Then
Tongue is correct. Tongue.
What?
Tongue.
Tongue, does it produce enzyme?
But you know that's like
Hi. The only function of the tongue is to mix the food with the saliva and form a ball nature into bolus. And the third function is to push the food out of the mouth into the esophagus. It has nothing to do with the enzyme. Do you remember the diagram? Do you remember this diagram? Do you remember this diagram? Do you remember this diagram? Do you remember what I'm trying to do here? Huh? You do? Do you not remember this?
okay. Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
This is, I was just trying to draw the head part. This should have been the area where we have the teeth. This should be the tongue. Here. This is the salivary gland. So if they give you this diagram in an exam, which they have done before, with a well-leveled diagram, draw the alimentary canal of a man, of a human, and label fully, and list them. You can't draw it like this. What then will you draw?
It's inside the skull.
It's inside the skull.
That gland.
It's not inside the skull. I'm just trying to show you. I don't even need to draw the skull. Okay. you not understand this? Why I say it's inside the skull? Okay. Everything about the head, you put it nervous system. What they call them in terms of the sensory nerve, the cranial nerves, they are all connected. Open your mouth. Did you feel anything around your head? Huh?
Yes.
You feel it? And you feel here? And you feel almost on your head? Have you ever had catarrh? The catarrh is in the ear, it's in the nose, it's in the mouth, it's even at times affecting the throat. This is what we call the cranial nerves. You know the nervous system? The spinal cranial nerves. And there was a question on it to mention that I mentioned the nerves that are responsible with everything about it. I know you can easily remember that of the eye, the nose, and which one? You can remember the nasal easily. You can remember the eye easily. You can remember the nose easily. What of the crown? That's why we have glasopharyngeal nerves. The glasopharyngeal nerves. We have the vagal nerves. It should be you put into it. You did it.
You didn't mention that one.
Huh?
You didn't mention that one.
You only come across the optic nerve, the auditory nerve, the olfactory nerves, the mouth, the tongue, and one that link to the heart. It's not well. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Yeah, like, you want to know?
Yes.
I said we'll do that tomorrow. I should write the glasopharyngeal nerve. Why should I write it? Go and make a research. It's an assignment and you must tell me tomorrow. The vagus nerve. The vagus nerve. VAGUX. The glasopharyngeal nerves. The glasopharyngeal nerves. Pharyngeal. Pharyngeal. FHY. Sorry, PHY. PHY. Do you know the spelling of pharynx?
Yes.
Where do you have pharynx? Where do you have the pharynx? From this diagram, where do you have the pharynx? After the mouth.
Yes.
At the tongue, you have the pharynx. And there's nothing actually happening there. So the glasopharyngeal nerves, the pharynx, joined together. That is the nerve that is responsible for, I found that for yawning, opening, the movement of the mouth. It's not in most of the textbooks, but they've asked it in a question in WASSCE, and that was 1999. You can literally see it. This question, this thing, it's like a repetition that has been coming from all those years. So we have PQ. Go and look for them. Okay, let's go. The last question said, name 3 digestive enzymes that will be involved in digestion of the meal. 3 digestive enzymes that will be involved in the digestion of the meal. We've mentioned a lot of enzymes. They say you should name 3. You should name 3. We've mentioned a lot of enzymes. Name 3. Lipase, pepsin, erepsin. What of trypsin? Okay. Now, what are the end products of the food, of the meal after digestion? The end products. The end products. The end product of the meals after digestion.
Amino acid.
Okay?
Fatty acid.
Okay. You've not mentioned the first thing, sir.
Glucose.
Glucose. Glucose, amino acid, and fat and oil, then to glycerol. These are, okay, here it comes. Name one effect that excess salt in the meal might have on the individual involved. One effect. One effect that the meals will have. One effect that the excess salt will have. One effect. There's one I felt that all of you should mention. Excess sweating. High blood pressure is there. High blood pressure is there. That's one of the things I'm expecting in population. Kidney disease. Excess water, excess salt within the body. It can lead to kidney disease. It can equally lead to heart failure. High blood pressure, I've mentioned it. It can equally lead to heart failure. High blood pressure, chronic one, can lead to heart failure. As a result of that, we have been asked to reduce, if possible, not to eat salt. Or to reduce, you're doing like this. All funny thing, how beautiful salt is, no matter what you cook, no matter the ingredients in the food. If there's no salt in it, it's tasteless. It will look as if this is your production. Put it up, even go and carry out the packet of Maggi, which is more dangerous, and put inside the food. Add everything. If you're cooking Igbo soup, put stockfish, put crayfish, put all the meats, put all those metemete to make it. And there's no little salt inside it. They said, who cooked this food? It's more sweet. So they've been asked, and you know most vegetables contain salt. What people know? Most vegetables contain salt. That's mineral salt. How many of us have chewed bitter leaf? Did you not, after you chew bitter leaf, you know it's bitter? When you now drink water, you will feel that salty taste. You plan running away from it, or if you've never observed that, you feel that salty taste. Huh? That's what I'm saying, sweet. It will be sweet in your mouth. That bitter leaf that is bitter. Immediately you chew it, after which drink little water, you feel that. Even when I know some of us will be encouraged to take bitter leaf because it helps the pancreas. What's the major function of the pancreas? What's the major function of the pancreas? Huh? It helps to regulate sugar level. Now, when there is excess sugar leads to what? Diabetes. Which means the sugar was so much that the pancreas could no longer break it down and store it as glycogen. Did I say something now? So when the pancreas, these bitter things, like the bitter leaf, bitter cola, there's another bitter leaf, I don't know the name, but we use it a lot in the East. We call it otaze. It's so bitter we can eat it raw.
I eat it raw.
I eat it raw. Even the bitter leaf, I eat it raw.
Wow.
It helps if you're having malaria.
Yummy.
Yummy. Very yummy. You eat it raw. It will just give you that strength. On a more serious note. You want to try it? If you want to drink the juice, the water. Yes, now. Don't drink the first one. You know when you wash it up, but the second one. But it's still bitter. You now drink it. That first one is a little bit acidic.
Why?
Yes. It contains some amount of acid. within the bitter leaf. So you eat, you drink the other. It helps the pancreas to break down, because the bulky food we eat has to do with glucose. I hope people know that. Today, we eat amala or fufu or lafu. Tomorrow, virtually every day, one or the other we eat rice. Virtually every day, one or the other. If you don't eat rice, you eat amala, you eat fufu. If you don't eat that one, you eat yam. You manage to eat beans. Do you know that beans contains carbohydrates?
Yes. 50%.
Thank God you know.
Mama, why do you need to classify that?
Because the amount of protein is more.
60% carbohydrates.
I said the amount of protein, is more. It's not up to 60%. It's not up to 60% in beans. Who told it is? No, food is very healthy. You can just eat and drink it. Even in the beans, cut a thing and put inside it. Yes. Okay, that is that about this. Now the effects. We have mentioned one. We have mentioned kidney disease. We have mentioned high blood pressure. We have mentioned heart failure. And what else? These days, if you don't remember to put salt in the food, don't use raw salt. Eat it like that. It is not too good for the body. Is that clear? And the last question says, state the advantages that the individual will derive from the meal. You know now. What are the advantages that individuals will derive? Energy? They go. Huh?
Repair of 1 hour.
Okay, repair of 1 hour tissue. What? It will reduce it. Do you know that groundnut plays an important role within the body? How? It can even reduce that of your diabetes. When you take that diabetes, when you take tea and groundnut, not other beverages, something like Lipton and not sugary milk with groundnut, goes a long way. It solves the problem. So it reduces heart failure, but prevents cardiovascular diseases. There are a lot of them. It might not just be heart attack. There are other ones within the body. Another thing, it improves energy, like you said, in the month. It manages diabetes, like I've just mentioned. I didn't even see it as I'm talking. It promotes skins. It nourishes the skin. It nourishes the skin, but not too much. That the oily substance help to nourish your skin. Okay? And also it strengthens the immune system. It strengthens the immune system. It helps you to lose weight, loss of weight too, and prevent cancer, especially from that groundnut too. And also what you don't know about groundnut soup. Wow, it's a very fine, beautiful soup. Groundnut soup. Have you ever eaten it? Wow, it's so sweet. You cook it like a goose. Have you? You cook it like a goosey soup. Not the fried groundnut. The raw groundnut. You grind it. Do you cook a goosey? You know how to cook a goosey? Yes, on the back. Yes, now you won't even see it. The groundnuts that you normally buy to fry, you know, if you avoid it, you can bring out the seeds. The one you boil is the groundnut. Okay, we will buy that small one and boil it. The one that they buy and fry, make their porridge. What do you say? What is orishi? Can we check another question? Which one? I want to bring another question from my head, but it is a wire question. Now let me just take one. Instead of this is the way they brought it here. Wow. State one function each of the following parts of the nephron. Give me another name for nephron. Give me another name for nephron. N-E-P-H-R-O-N. There are 3 names for nephron. Kidney what? It's kidney tube. Apart from that, another name. There are 3 names. There are 3 names. Here they use nephron. He has given us the second name, which is kidney tube. There's another name for the kidney tube. What's the kidney tube? What can you say about the kidney tube? Just one sentence.
Basic structural unit of kidney.
That's it. The basic structural unit of the kidney. If we don't call it nephron or urinary tube, we'll call it uniferous tube. Uniferous tube. It is a structural functional unit of the kidney. That the kidney is functioning, it is that uniferous tube or the nephron or urinary tube. Without it, kidney is packed up. And there are 3, let me say, consists of how many parts? One is the Bowman capsule. After the Bowman capsule, we have the proximal convoluted tube. After the proximal convoluted tube, we have the Helen loops. After the Helen loops, we have the distal convoluted tube. And after the distal convoluted tube, we have the collecting tube. Then you have the blood vessels. 1, the artery, 2, and the vein. So these are the major things. And that is what is here now. It says state. Are we okay with this? No, not the accessory gland. The associated gland of the digestive organ and their secretions. The associated glands of the alimentary canal and their secretions. Number 1, that's good. Which other one? Gastric gland, that's okay. Which other one? Pancreas, okay. Which other one? Sebaceous. Sebaceous. That's the skin. There's another one. Glands, associated glands. Associated glands and organ. The pancreas you mentioned, Uncle, the pancreas mentioned is an organ. The question is associated glands and organ. I just remember, you mentioned pancreas and their secretions. You have mentioned salivary gland, you have mentioned gastric gland, you have mentioned the pancreas, which is an organ. It remains 2 other major things. 2 other major things. 2 other major things. Is a well question. Is a well question. 2000. That is November, December. That's 2003 or 4. Huh? Intestinal gland. Thank you. You meant one, the organ. The liver. The liver. When they said the associated gland and organ, they are giving us the salivary gland. What is the secretion of the salivary gland? Saliva and what? Saliva and what? Thiolin, thank you. That's the enzyme, saliva and the thiolin. What of the gastric gland? Gastric juice and what else? Huh?
Renin and pepsin.
Hydrochloric acid,
Renin and pepsin.
pepsin, renin. Then another one. What of the pancreas?
Insulin.
Pancreas.
Amylase.
Apart from that, I expect you to mention pancreatic juice.
Is it not the pancreatic juice?
Pancreatic juice, if there's secretion, you have the pancreatic gland, which you have mentioned. You have pancreatic juice. There's secretion, what they secreted. Pancreatic juice, amylase, trypsin, lipase, what else? These are the three. Then the other one, intestinal juice, intestinal gland, intestinal juice is there. Then all those enzymes, is that your school football team clothes? Wow. This is not what they are using before.
Yes.
Who provided this one? Akintobi. Okay. Now let's go to this question. It says state one function each of the following parts of the network. The first one is glomerulus. What's the one function of the glomerulus? Ultrafiltration. You sure? Where does ultrafiltration occur? The Bowman capsule. Now the glomerulus is acting as a filter. It's acting as a filter. Carries off out ultrafiltration, thank you, and also filters the blood passing through. It's acting as a filter. If you're asked to draw the diagram, like here they ask them, what is that major process all about? Huh? God bless you, urine formation. At times they'll ask that question, they say using an annotated diagram only explain the process involved in urine formation. Do you understand what it means using an annotated diagram only? You draw the nephron.
How do you not label? Should we just... How will you...
Can you draw it?
Yes, no.
Give him a clap for me. I said clap. Of all that you wrote, you got only one. Okay, two. Hmm? This is a branch of renal artery. This is your glomerulus. Glomerulus is found inside the bone capsule as a mass of blood capillaries. That mass clustered inside the glomerulus, inside the bone capsule, is called the glomerulus. In plural, the glomerular is singular. Now this is the bone capsule. When we set an unrotated diagram, we would have written like this. Although this diagram is not your labeling, although it's complicated, you would have said ultrafiltration occurs here. Ultrafiltration occurs here. Now you have the bone capsule. After the when we talk about the cause of the urinary tube, when you hear the word, the cause of the urinary tube, what it means, the structure of the urinary tube. Now, not the function that is carrying out its function as an organ of excretion or carrying out the function of excretion. So here, you can see this thing I brought up here shows the blood capillaries found all around. The one that is thick inside is the uniferous tube. Are you following? So this is the bone, the first convoluted tubules. Immediately after the bone capsule is the proximal convoluted tubule. But your labeling was on the blood capillary. You know, the blood capillary is scattered. Did you do the association of the blood, the kidneys, the structure of the kidney, and it associates blood vessels? The diagram that shows the two kidneys and the two, that is the dorsal aorta. You did draw the diagram? Why I have asked that, you know, so I should already go back to that place. Please. So at this proximal convoluted tubule here, you know after what happens here, there are three major processes that are involved: ultrafiltration, selective reabsorption, tubular secretion, or what to call hormonal secretion. Did I say something now? That is, that's ultrafiltration, selective reabsorption, and tubular secretion. So in this place now, this your level in here should have been for this. Are you following? Put it back. Should have been on this instead of here. It should be here. And what happened here? At the proximal convoluted tubule, sugar and the water is being reabsorbed. Maybe we'll suspend this so we'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll have time to discuss it and discuss the cause and as well as its function. Then when you now come here, I know you have written, your level is still on the same thing, on the blood vessel. So it should have been, when you want to say the descending, it should have been here. And this one, okay, this is correct, the ascending. But let for me know, because it's almost the same thing, the whole of this is the Helen loose or loop of Helens, whether ascending or descending. Selection Reabsorption also occur here. Do you remember the substances that was carried into the urinary tube? They are important substances that are carried into the urinary tubes that is allowed to pass the uniferous tube, the glomerulus. Glucose number 1, mineral salt number 2, water number 3, amino acid number 4, plasma solute number 5, and plasma solute number 5, mineral salt number 6, and also I think they are the major 5 ones: glucose, salt, and water. Blood, if blood enters here, there is a problem, which means the blood will come out of your urine. Am I saying something now? If blood, did you say anything? Oh, go on. Did you say blood?
No.
Did you say blood? I thought you said blood. If blood is allowed to pass through this, there's wahala, which means the person will urinate blood. And that is creating problem. There's a problem in the kidney. There are a lot of substances that are allowed to pass. Not that those substances are not like creatine. Creatinine is not that it's a problem to the kidney, but if allowed to pass through this, then there is a problem. So they will go back to the kidney itself. So this a branch of kidney, renal artery. Remember, renal artery carries oxygenated blood, isn't it? Into the kidney, and the renal vein carries deoxygenated blood. So they carry some substances, useful substances that are allowed to pass here into the glomerular filtrates. That is into the glomerular capsule. Those ones that are allowed to pass is what we call glomerular filtrates, composed of water, glucose, mineral salts, amino acid, plasma, the what? Urea, thank you, and plasma solute. And when you get here, salt and water, glucose and water is being reabsorbed here. No other part will take that glucose. If glucose is allowed to pass and leave this place, being collecting it from, it will go out to urine, and that results to this disease that we call diabetes. Then when it gets to the healing loops, substances like amino acids from plasma solute is being reabsorbed together with water. So they'll be taken by the healing loops. And when they get to this place, when we have the destal, the second convoluted tube, the destal convoluted tube, here salt and water is being taken in the Bowman capsule. Now, at this time around, every other thing, deoxygenated blood will pass and leave this kidney and go out via the renal vein. So what is actually left here will have to do with remaining salt. So water and salt as well will also be reabsorbed and collected by the collecting ducts. So the remaining one now, there should have been an arrow here, will be found trickling inside the pelvis. So from the pelvis, what is now left will now get to the bladder. When the bladder fills up, the walls of the bladder will now contract. That is when you and I will feel like urinating. Now, not all the salts at this particular time. That's why most time, how many of you have mistakenly tested your urine? Tested urine. You know there are people that drink their urine, the first urine in the morning. It's salty. I've not done it though, and I've not dare do it. But I know there are somebody came up there and they said the thing, never can your waste product be solving problem within the body system again. But I know that the sweat, have you ever tested the sweat? It's like one word, even the one that is running down the pedal, you know it tastes salt. What of the tears? So these are some other areas. The major areas we have where we lose water from. That question has been asked once. The major thing is urine and sweat. So here, salt and water will be reabsorbed. The remaining one will be reabsorbed here. And remember, every part of it takes water. We'll talk about it. That's why we are being advised most of the time to drink water. One, it will help the system within the body to wash off some things. And not only this thing that is only salt, sugar, those ones, the other mineral salts, ammonia that is there. Have you ever throw your skin like this and smell it? It smells like chicken droppings. You can try it as you're sitting down. It smells like chicken droppings. It's not smelling. When you do it, it smells like chicken droppings. So we'll continue from there tomorrow. Madam,